Hello, and welcome to the Oily Crafter. I'm Judy Medore. My husband Greg is behind the camera today, and I would like to thank you for coming and watching our video. If you like our content, hope you will like and subscribe and maybe even share our videos with others. Today's project is going to be sublimating on a Dollar Tree beer mug. This is the large one. We're going to use laminating sheets, and then I'm going to put a shrink wrap on it, and then I'm going to take it over to a toaster oven. Alrighty, so one of the first things we're going to want to do is measure our mug, because we can't print out our actual sublimation picture until we know what size to print it. So I'm going to lay this on its side, and I'm going to take this flexible measuring tape. Sewers use them all the time. I'm going to measure just the area that I think I'm going to put the picture on, because I'm not going to go top to bottom on this. I'm just going to do probably the center third or so. So the whole glass is 7 inches, so I don't want to go that far. So I'm going to come down a little bit here, and I'm going to guess I like about 4 inches at the maximum on the height. Okay, now the other thing you have to decide is, are you going to just put it on one side? I'm a left-handed drinker, so you want it where other people can see it, or do you want it where you can see it? Or if you're a right-handed drinker, you put it on this side so people can see it that's out around, or where you can see it. Most people put it on the opposite side so the surrounding room can see it. What I'm going to do, because of the mug, of the handle, I'm going to go handle to handle to start out with, so I can get my full length around. And I'm going to turn it this way so I can see my measure when I get done here. And that is just shy of 11 inches, so we're going to call it 10 3/4. So I need to write down the 10 3/4 around.
Now, if you're using a mug press, you obviously wouldn't be able to get that full length, right, at all.
Well, I don't even think this can fit into our mug press. I think it's too big.
I'm just saying, if you had a mug press that was big enough to handle a mug of that size,
correct,
you have to leave room, because what we've seen in our previous videos is you have to leave a gap close to the handle on either side, because it physically won't heat up the media to apply it to the mug.
Right, because of the way an actual mug press works, they're not going to get inside the handle here.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons people like to use the shrink wrap, is because they can do a full wrap, which I'm not doing on this particular mug. Maybe a coffee mug. Now, one of those things that we need to talk about is safety. Again, these are not tempered for sublimation like your coffee mugs are. So the heat we're a little concerned about. So I'm going to use, when we're actually putting it in and out of the oven, I'm going to use my safety glasses, which we have pairs that will fit over glasses.
You might pick it up and show it to them.
The way over there. These here. So when you get ready to actually put it in and out of the oven, you may want to wear safety glasses, just in case it doesn't like the heat. We don't know.
And you've got some
heat-resistant
gloves there as well,
to help take it in and out, because glass is going to retain heat just like the ceramic mugs, and it's going to be very hot. Plus, if you don't want to happen to touch any of the hot part of the oven by accident, because you do get burned. I did that the other day. So one of the preparations after you get it measured is going to be, you want to clean it. I use rubbing alcohol. I got this little pump, and so you want to clean that way. You get all your dust particles and your fingerprints and stuff off of it. And you want to do this with any ceramic that you've handled, especially. Now, if you haven't handled it, you've just unwrapped it, it's a sublimation mug, you just want to get the dust particles off of it. So you just want to, as long as you haven't handled it, because you don't want your fingerprints on there, because your picture will not adhere to wherever your finger oils are at.
So this is Greg Medore with the Oily Crafter. Wanted to go over the computer part of the image of how we're going to sublimate that. So what I've done on this side over here is I've loaded GIMP, which is a open source photo manipulation software. Picked a picture that we recently took from our trip to San Jose del Cabo, and I pulled it into GIMP. So earlier we talked about the size of the image that we want it to be. And we decided on as far as the image size is concerned, is we want the image size to be 5.5 inches in height. So right here, you want to make sure that it's not broken. That link isn't broken. You want to make sure it's connected. The reason why you want to do that is because if it's not, if you come in here, if it's not connected, if I change the height, watch what happens. Notice my width doesn't change. So I want to cancel that. I'm going to come back up to image and I'm going to do print size again. So again, make sure it's connected right here. And then under height, type in 5.5. Now earlier we said we wanted it to be about 4 inches tall. We will remeasure the mug and decided we wanted 5.5 inches. Now notice with that link enabled, it automatically changed my width of 7.33 inches. And so that will actually fit within the parameters of the circumference of the mug that we measured earlier. So now I'm going to hit OK right here. And right here under File, now I'm going to come over here to File and Print. Now, one of the things that we did in preparation for this is in our Epson Workforce 7720 printer, we did a print head
Maintenance check.
Maintenance check, and we checked the lines to make sure that we didn't have broken lines. If you have broken lines on when you do the print head maintenance check, then what you need to do is do a print head cleaning and then come back and do a print head maintenance check and print those until your lines, you don't have broken lines.
Correction, that's a nozzle check.
Print head nozzle check. Okay, sorry for the termination, the confusion here. Now, with regard to this, I want to go over the settings just a little bit. So I'm going to pick this Epson Workforce 7720, and I'm going to click on Preferences right here. Now, notice I have one down here that says Cosmos Mugs. And I created this so that it already has my settings already set up. So paper cassette one has a whole lot more choices. So in this case, we're going to use paper cassette one and letter 8.5 by 11 landscape. High quality plain paper is what we want. Under quality and more settings, we want more settings. We want this set to quality right here. We want this set to color. Two-side printing is off. Under settings, these right here, those are fine. Multi-page, set that to off. Collate, I turned that off. Reverse order, that one is not really as important. So next one here, under more options, notice color correction, I have custom. I'm going to go into advanced. I need ICM right here. Under image options, I need edge smoothing turned on. Right down here under high speed, and I want that turned off, and mirror image. I check mark this so that I don't have to remember to flip it. The printer flips it for me. So those are really all the settings that I need. And so at this point, we are ready to load paper into the printer. Oh yes, and in our printer, in our Epson Workforce 7720, we are using Cosmos Sublimation ink, as opposed to, of course, the ink that came with it. The other thing that we're using here is we are using this A-Sub printer paper. It's 8.5 by 11, and it is 125 grain paper. We've had a lot of really good success with that, with this paper and the Epson printer. So I'm going to stop there and we will go over to the printer.
Alrighty, we've moved over to our printer. What we have is the Epson Workforce 7720. So this one we have converted with the Cosmos ink and their cartridges over to a sublimation printer. One of the reasons we picked this one, we have two trays. Bottom one does like 13 by 19. Top one you can do the 8.5 by 11 or the larger sheet. But in this case, we're going to use the upper tray because you have more choices with it when you get into the settings that Greg was showing you earlier. So we're going to take out the top cassette. I want to remove the regular paper. And then we're going to take the A-sub paper that Greg was showing you earlier. You put it with this label, not sure how well you can see it, where it says A-sub, pointing up for this printer. And we always put in 2 sheets, because if you just put one in, we tend to not want to pick up the paper. So I'm going to get that put in there. Put my cover back on. And so it's ready to go. I just need to tell it it's 8.5 by 11. All right, and he did all the other settings inside the computer.
All right, I'm back over here at the printer and at the computer, and I'm ready to send it to the printer. Again, I showed you the settings on the printer. I'm going to go ahead and hit print. I did not hit print before because we didn't have the printer paper and stuff loaded in the printer. So I'm going to hit print. And you can hear the printer spinning up. You can hear the printer going to town on printing out that printer image.
It's going to take it a minute or two because it is a full color photo.
This is true. There we go. We're starting to see the...
And if you're wondering what the little triangle here that's red is, there's a firmware update that we have not done yet. That's why it's going, oh no.
And we tend to not want to apply firmware updates just because we've heard some horror stories with regard to that. So
because of the conversion that we did.
Yes.
Alrighty. And don't be scared when you see the pictures come out. They always look dark or not quite the same color as when you print.
Okay, let's hold that up here so people can see it.
Because when you use sublimation ink, the colors don't look right until you heat them.
They look dull, they look dark, and then as Judy pointed out, once you heat them up, then they'll do what they need to do. Yep.
All right, so now what we're going to do, we got to cut our paper closer to the size of our glass. Now earlier I measured 7 inches. So I'm going to go ahead because I want to cover this and be able to wrap it around inside the mug deal here where I can make it tight. I'm going to cut it to 7 inches. So that's one of the places where this comes in nice and handy. All right, so 7 inches is right there. Make sure I get it good and straight. All right. These little cutters come in so handy when you're wanting to cut straight. All right. Get this back out of the way. So
you want to cut off your length?
Let's see here. You're right on that. You want to, because we have very little on this side. We could have centered it more on the paper if we wanted to. So what we need to do is we need to kind of give us an idea here. How much, trying to get it centered. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut off till I have about this much on that side as well. All right. So that gets our picture ready to be taped around. Now, but before we can do this, because this is not a sublimation mug, it's not already pre-coated with the polyester coating like your sublimation mugs are, or tumblers, depending on what you're doing, I will have to cut some laminate. And I want to cut it pretty much the same size as the picture, maybe a little larger, because the reason I'm concerned about getting it too large is on this one that we did last year, this didn't get tacked down very well. So I'm wanting to try and see what's got clear over here. And it's not done very well here, but you can see where the picture went a little bit off of the laminate up here. So we're going to make the laminate, which mine is a roll. Let me get some stuff out of the way here. I'm going to try to cut it close to the same size. And we're going to put this taped on. At the same time, we're going to tape this on, because when we shrink wrap, I only want to have to shrink wrap once. I don't want to have to use 2 different shrink wraps. Oh, our oven's heated.
And that took about 7.5 minutes to heat up to 400 degrees.
Okay. And one of the things that people ask me in my other videos about, what side of the laminate roll do I put against my glass? When I unroll it, what was on the inside is what I'm actually going to put against the glass. So, but I don't want this to be too much bigger than my actual picture. So, all right, get my cutter here, and then I need to get my ruler over here. Oh, my paper is burning.
We want to pull that paper out of the oven.
I think I'm going to pull the paper out, put fresh paper in. Guy said he uses his twice, but that's butcher paper, and he was using computer paper. The one guy that I was getting some tips from.
Okay.
Alrighty, so here, I know I don't want it the 7 inches. I want it 5.5, because that's what height we did.
Yep.
On my ruler, I have, this one is, trying to figure out how tall it is. Be easier to do it this way. It's right at 5. So, when I have to line it up with my little ruler there, and then go a 1/2 inch further. Alrighty. And I'm actually doing this backwards from what I would normally do with my particular, because I'm right-handed when I'm cutting. Because normally you would cut, matter of fact, I'll come this way and just do it, because that way I make sure I get it straight. Alright, I'm going to put this back in a plastic wrap.
Oh.
Oh. So apparently, my opening that made it in. I'm going to go ahead and just hit stop.
Yeah, but now it won't be preheated.
It's pretty hot. I'm just standing there next to the door so you can feel it. So this helps the moisture keep away from the laminate roll. That's why I put it back in there. Since we don't use this on a daily basis. All right. So now, one of the things too that you're going to need, move these over here, is your heat resistant tape. Now I did touch this a while ago, so I'm gonna alrighty. Well, it just dumped out. What a fun day. This wasn't really designed for this tape, so I haven't found a deal for it yet. This is the Cricut brand, so it's not.
Tape's okay. It's just a dispenser. It's not made specifically for that dispenser.
Yeah. So what I want to do, I still got one more cut to make here. The length. Whoops. Alright, so now to try and get it lined up on the mug, put it all on at once. So maybe the best thing to do is try to get it lined up. Get it all to cooperate here. Nice thing about it being clear, you can see through to see where everything's at. I need to lower that. And a trick with a lot of your like wine glasses and stuff when you're trying to line stuff up, put water in it and just get down on its eye level. This has the base on it already, so all I gotta do is line it up with that. And then try to line it up in the center. And then hold it in place. Now I cut this to height just so I could just let it sit right against the bottom. Get that side lined up.
Do you need me to help hold
No,
something?
I need to just see where everything is at. Trying to get an idea if I got it centered. Alright, I think I have it centered. I have it all the way down.
Yeah. Here, you need me to hold it?
Do you want to look at it real quick and see if you think it's centered? I'm not going to let go of it.
I'd say that's pretty close.
All right. So now what you got to do?
Okay, I'm gonna help hold on to it while you get some tape on there.
Okay, heat resistant tape on one side, and then you're going to hold it tight.
Okay.
And come over to the other side. Here, let me tilt it
Okay.
so I can
Yeah.
get to it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, now, disclaimer. We have never done this before, so we don't know how this is going to come out. The tighter you get it, the better. But we're also going to be putting shrink wrap on it. So.
Yeah, it does look like your paper is a little crooked there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's better.
I actually didn't get the paper on this side taped. All I got was the underneath thing.
Yeah.
That's why that happened. All right. All right. Oops, same thing happened over there. So I lucked out that it held in place long enough for this. All righty. Make sure it's lined up. This tape dispenser doesn't work well for this. It's just a typical tape dispenser like you'd use with Scotch tape. All right, so now I think I'm going to, got a little bubble there. We want to make sure it's good and tight. Because when you have bubbles, that's when you have things that ghost or have white spots. But with this particular one, you're not going to have to worry about it looking so much because it's clear. May not be noticeable. All right. I'm going to turn this upside down. And the particular kind of shrink wrap I got doesn't say it's specifically for sublimation. So there again, we don't know how well it's going to work. Didn't realize there was a special shrink wrap for sublimation when I purchased this. I thought I had done much research and I just totally missed that. Alright, so because I want this to go in between the deals, we're going to cut out a slit here. And my scissors are over there. Alright. I'm going to cut slits. So I can get this taped in between. And this one's a lot bigger than what I actually need. I know on the tumblers and stuff, you're going to want to get the ones that are made specifically for your tumblers. And they are white. the ones that I've seen lately. I honestly don't remember seeing them when I was looking for shrink wrap. Okay. I think I'm just going to make this a little shorter all the way down. Make it a little easier to get in there. Since it's not a full wrap, so it's not going to matter as much. I didn't make this much deep enough. Sort of a little trial and error, trying to get all this to fit. But I'm okay with that. And like I said, we've never done this before, so this is being quite the challenge. It's okay, I like challenges. Now remember, we're going to heat this, so it's going to shrink around our mug. So I don't have to get it real tight, but I want to get it tight enough that it will hold it while it shrinks. So, any comments or suggestions here, Greg?
No, it looks like you're headed in the right direction.
Right.
You got to cut it out around the handle, so you're going to stuff that down inside of there,
Yep,
and then yeah.
And then that's this particular one's sealed on the bottom, and a lot of the ones I've seen other people do are not sealed on the bottom. They're open on both ends.
Now, what is the wattage on that heat gun? Do you remember?
This is the Drill Master that we got at Harbor Freight. 120, let's see, 60 volt, 1500 watt. Is that what you were asking?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's get this plugged in over here. And okay, so another suggestion. Everybody's like, when you heat shrink wrapping, you got the it gets hot. So I'm going to start with the low temperature.
Yeah, you can see it tightening up nicely on that.
Now, when you're doing a full wrap, you're going to want it to get out as many wrinkles as you can. But I definitely want to get it tight. So I'm having it shrink a lot of this out as best I can. Try not to get any holes in it, especially over the image. Don't think it's going to get any tighter there. See a couple of wrinkles here I want to try to get out. And this is the low setting on this that I'm using. Alrighty, I think that's pretty good. What do you think, Greg?
Yep, I think that's pretty good, especially over the paper part there where you need it to be.
Now I'm going to go put this over on my heat pad that I have over here.
Okay.
And then I'm going to restart the oven. Alright, you said put it on bake?
Yeah, put it on bake.
And then we're going to do temperature to
400.
400. And just hit start or timers?
Hit time. Time there. You've got a time and a temp button. You have to hit the arrow button.
Okay, so
that's 30 minutes.
All right, so we want to take that down to about 4 or 5 minutes. And come on.
Yeah. Now keep in mind, once you get below 10, it'll do half minutes.
Yeah. So I'm
as
going to
well.
stop at 5. All right.
Okay, now hit start.
Hit start. Okay.
And it's going to preheat again.
It's going to preheat. So don't. How long did you say it took a while ago to preheat?
7.5 minutes.
Okay, so I guess we'll stop the video till it's preheated, and then we'll put it in.
We will.
Okay, so we've preheated our oven again, and it automatically turned off as soon as it got done preheating. So we've turned it back on, got it back to temperature. So we're just going to go ahead and it says 29 minutes, so we're going to just measure it with our phone. Again, safety, got the glasses on. This time we didn't set a timer on it. We just said start with the temperature of 400. Okay, so I'm going to take the mug and I'm going to throw in the computer paper. And the reason we're using this, the computer paper, this thing's heavy. Ugh. All right, so now we're going to start a timer on our phone for 5 minutes. Okay, I put the computer paper in there because the sublimation paper can actually melt and adhere to the grate inside the oven, and we don't want that to happen. So once we have 5 minutes, we'll pull it out and we'll see how our image is.
Go.
Alrighty, so we're about to hit our 5 minutes here. We're going to take it out. We have 5 minutes.
There's 5 minutes right there.
There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to hit stop. Hopefully.
Just open the doors.
All right. I'm going to set it over on the heat resistant pad, which if you're wondering, it's just a Cricut easy press pad. Okay.
You may have to, there you go.
There. Okay, got it turned off. All right. So, interesting what I can see through the glass. I'm going to let it cool for a minute. It's going to be interesting. All right, so I've got a few things here to help me cut it off. I'm going to bring it over here so I can...
Don't you want to let it cool down a little bit more?
Well, yeah, we can. I just getting ready here. So, alrighty. Don't know why, but I got a great big old hole right here. So I don't know when that melted. So, like I said, this particular shrink wrap may not be the right shrink wrap.
Yeah, big old hole for no shrink wrap on it, huh?
Yeah. So I'm kind of like, interesting. Well, like I said, they have special shrink wrap that is for subbing, doing sublimation, that I may need to get that if I want to continue on with this method. So I'm just going to go ahead and start peeling this off. One thing I didn't think to do that I did on the coffee mug was put a piece of regular, like the butcher paper wrapped around it. But I didn't think I needed to because I had the shrink wrap. All right. The pictures, looks like it's there. Okay, so now I'm going to use my pick tool here to get this tape loose. You want to use heat resistant tape. Well, it's pulling everything off, so we're going to have to let it cool a little bit longer, it looks like. Yeah, this method may not work on these kind of glasses. They just don't look right. You can see in here, I got these little ridge things looking. It's probably where that melted off. Don't know if you can see that or not in the picture. So it's probably where the deal melted. But see if I can start getting this tape off over here without pulling off the. One of the things what we've noticed when we did that other mug is that on the edge, if you're not careful, it will peel off your laminate. So these methods for these kind of things don't look like they're going to be very trustworthy. For doing a lot of laminating. Yep. Nope, we didn't get an image at all. Because the shrink wrap came loose.
Okay.
Alrighty, so there's that. Wrong kind of shrink wrap. So, failed project. You can see where the shrink wrap, or where the stuff buckled.
Yep. You know, let me see if I can. Yeah, you can see where some of the ink started, look like it started to try and transfer, but...
Yep, but when the shrink wrap got that hole in it, you lost all your pressure, so it didn't transfer.
Yep.
And I can still tell that that's very hot through the deal here.
Yeah.
But you can see it's not adhering at all.
Okay.
So this method does not work. There you go. Alrighty, so today's project was a fail. We've discovered that the shrink wrap that we bought is not the right kind. It got a big hole in it. Our picture did not transfer. We got a lot of bubbles in the actual laminate because of the shrink wrap coming loose. So, hope you enjoyed our video today and you learned something here with us, and that you would like and subscribe and share our videos. And this is the Oily Crafter signing out. Thank you.